Well, you fine call center survivors, PTPOP here with all four lobes of my brain securely bound behind my back, and welcome to another episode of Call Center Survivor. At the suggestion of one of my subscribers, I'm going to talk about how I would run a call center. Stay tuned, baby. So, today's show is inspired by, or at the suggestion of one of my subscribers, by the name of Saber Matrix. And forgive me, I don't know if you're a guy or a gal or a man or a woman or a he, she, him, or it, or whatever we're supposed to say, but for some reason I had the impression you might be a female. Might be wishful thinking, I don't know. But anyway, Saber Matrix says to me, "Hi Pete, love your videos. I had a suggestion for you. Was wondering if you could make a video discussing how you would run a call center if every business decision was up to you. Maybe if you ran your own company or if you can run your own third-party call center. Keep up the good work." Thank you, Saber Matrix. I really appreciate the suggestion. It's great. I'm grateful for it. And I think this is a great idea because, believe it or not, when I was working in the bowels of many dark, dreary call centers, I would fantasize about what I would do if I ran my own call center. And I'd forgotten about this, completely forgot about it. I'd sit there and think, hey, you know what? If this is my company, this is what I would do. So the first thing I would do if I had any control at all, let's say it's a brand new company and they're just building a call center, I would have all call centers built in a certain way. First of all, they would be circular, like this lens cap. They would be round. And at the center of every call center, the circular part of the call center would be the bathrooms and would be the break rooms. And the idea behind this would be that each cubicle would be no more than 30 feet from a break room or a bathroom, so you could get to the break room and get to the bathroom within a reasonable amount of time. So you could go, do your business, eat your peanut butter sandwich, and get back to your desk instead of having to worry about how long it's going to take you to get to the restroom, because almost every single call center I've ever worked in, unless I sat near the door where you exited the call center, it would take you 2 to 3 minutes to get up, walk from your cubicle, walk all the way down the row of desks, go down a hallway to get to the men's room or to get to a break room. And by the time you got down there, it was almost time to turn around and come back, especially for a 10-minute break. So if you spend 2 minutes, getting your phone in not ready, putting your system in sleep mode, getting up from your desk and walking down, 2 minutes have gone by. So you've got 8 minutes to go down, go to the bathroom, 2-3 minutes go by if you have to take a real big dump or something. And so you waste a lot of time in your breaks just getting to the bathroom, just getting to the break room. And I have always dreamed that, and always fantasized about having a call center where it was the break room and the restrooms were easily accessible. Because they're not. Like when I was at Verizon, the Verizon call center was a 1,500-man call center. And the last place I sat, I was all the way at the end of the room. And right next to me, you could see the exit door to go down the stairs to go out to the parking lot. But you had to walk at least easily 75 to 100 yards to the north to get out of the call center to go to the bathroom. It was insane. It was completely just nuts. So I would try to make the bathrooms more accessible, break rooms more accessible, and this would cut down on travel time, quote, travel time, unquote, to and from the break room from your desk. The second thing that always drove me nuts about these call centers was dress code. We never have face-to-face interactions with customers or with the executives. I mean, you'll see an executive come strolling through like he's thirsty. Oh, look at me, I've got my ascot. Look at me, I'm gorgeous, like Dan Mead. I never saw Dan Mead at Verizon, but I knew of him when I worked at GT Wireless. And if you look at Dan Mead, he was the CEO of Verizon Wireless in the mid 2010s or 2008 to like 2014 or something. He's no longer, I think he's retired now because he's more like my age and he's got a golden parachute. But Dan, when I knew Dan, it was at GTE Wireless, which became Alltel Wireless. And Dan would come strolling through the call center with his nicely groomed mustache and his tapered shirts, nicely pressed tapered shirts, and wave to all of us peasants. Hello, peasants. Keep up the good work. I did not have any respect for the man because I thought he was a hatchet man, and I think they brought him on to businesses to be the demon that would start laying people off, and he did that at GTE, which became Alltel, and Alltel became Verizon, and Alltel's gone. Most of the people I know that worked at Alltel lost their jobs, and Verizon, right after he got to Verizon, they started closing call centers. But anyway, the dress code, I think, should be very relaxed. I mean, there's no professional decorum in a call center, and to ask people who used to work in a McDonald's or at Kmart or at Target or Walmart to put on a nice pair of pants and a shirt and a tie is kind of contradictory to who they are. I mean, the kind of people you're hiring in a call center, they don't really want to put all that stuff on. I would say dress code, as long as you're not showing any of your private parts, you don't have a butt crack or a big boobie showing, you can wear whatever you want. I mean, summertime, you should be able to wear shorts. I don't know, the whole open-toed thing, I don't know. In every call center I worked in, no open-toed shoes, ladies. And every women would come in thigh-high boots and, all kinds of other things. But nobody ever said anything to them. I mean, to me, I don't really care what you wear. I said wear what you want. As long as you're not showing your private parts and you're not too revealing, you're fine. You can wear sweatpants even. They would never let us wear sweatpants unless we had to come in on a Sunday morning to take calls. There's no customer contact in these call centers, and you really see an executive, so screw it. Just wear what you want to wear. I don't know. Another thing I would have in the call centers, in a place I used to work called SureGuard Storage. I worked there in Gilbert, Arizona from June of 2000 until November of 2002. 2002 to November of 2002. They had these desks, and I don't know what they're called, but they're mechanical desks, and they had a button on them, and you could stand up and raise the desk and the computer screen up, so you could stand up, or you can drop it and sit down. And that was the only call center I was ever in, and it does help if you don't have to sit all day long. It helps with your lower body circulation, so I would have all the desks be able to levitate, go up and down, and move up and down. Positions in the call center would be rotated. So, for instance, you get hired in a customer service position. That's fine. But they rotate the position. So for instance, I'm looking off the side here, I'm looking at my notes. So you start off as an inbound call center rep. You only stay there for 6 months. Then you train for a Q&A position, quality assurance. And then you go into quality assurance for 6 months. Then once you're done with your 6 months period, you train for sales, and then you go onto a sales line for 6 months. And this way, it cuts down on the boredom, it cuts down on feeling you're stuck, it cuts down on a lot of things. It would rotate you in and out of different positions within the call center. So you got a bigger picture, or you had a better idea of the whole picture of what's going on in a call center and in the business setting. And they didn't care. They wouldn't move you. If you're not good at sales, they'd put you there anyway just to see how you did. If it didn't work out, you're going to be out of there anyway. You're going to go back to customer service. They're not going to threaten you with your job. So that way, by the time you're done working customer service and quality assurance and sales, you have such a well-rounded background that you would be primed to go on to get promoted. Whereas in most cases, you have to wait. You have to wait to get on another shift. You have to make sure there's a shift bid. And then you have to meet all these quality assurance, goals and metrics before you can move to quality assurance, or you can move to sales or whatever. This is just written into it. Regardless of your stats, regardless of any disciplinary thing, this is where they put you. And this is what I experienced when I was at GT Wireless. GTE Wireless was a small cell phone company that was in Ohio, Indiana, and Pennsylvania. And there was only 500,000 customers or something. And, I worked in the call center. Once I got started making my metrics, they moved me to marketing. And then when I was in marketing for like a year, they moved me into quality assurance. And I had this huge perspective of how the whole company worked and what to expect. So I think it would give you a well-rounded employee. Bathroom breaks, I understand the idea behind not having people abusing bathroom breaks. And some people will. Some people get off the phones for any reason whatsoever, just so they don't have to take calls. And they'll spend an inordinate amount of time in the can, spanking the monkey or whatever they're doing, smoking a cigarette or looking at, their cell phones. So I understand that cuts back and it hurts the company. So why not just make bathroom breaks? Just don't put any restrictions on it. In general, this is what I think. I think everybody should get an hour lunch break. Because a half an hour isn't enough to do shit. It's barely enough time to eat. And in the corporate world, when you don't work in a call center, everybody gets an hour break. You get to go drive down to McDonald's, have your lunch. By the time you get back, you've got 10 minutes to take off your coat and get your computer turned on. But in a call center, there's not enough time to go anywhere. So you're stuck in that godforsaken building. Everybody gets an hour. We'll work out the metrics behind it. We'll work out the numbers somehow to make sure we have enough people staffed. But I would say every call center should have how many ever bathroom breaks you want. No disciplinary action. If you have to have a code on the phone you put in for bathroom breaks. And maybe the supervisors have to check and make sure you're actually going to the bathroom and they see you going to the bathroom, that you're not going out back to smoke a cigarette. Lunch, 1 hour, two 15-minute breaks. So basically you get an hour and a half off the phones. So if you get, I hate having these 2 15-minute breaks, because when I worked in the regular corporate world, you did whatever you want. You weren't tethered to your desk. You could get up and go outside, and you could walk around the building if you want, and then come back to your desk. Nobody questioned it. See, the thing that most call center people don't know is that if you've ever worked in the regular corporate world and you've sat at a cubicle or in an office, you have a supervisor. But most of the supervisors I had were pretty lenient. They're pretty cool, You got up and you say, hey, I'm going outside to walk around the building. I need to stretch my legs. And they're like, yeah, sure, see you in 15 minutes. There was no, what are you doing? What are you doing in the bathroom for so long? There were times that you get diarrhea. I'll be blunt. You get the runs, you get the Hershey squirts, you got to go sit in the can. If that happens to you in a call center, you walk out of the bathroom, there's somebody going, hey, Pete, you were in there 15 minutes. What are you doing in there? Oh, I was taking a shit, dude. I had the runs. Oh, well, you don't have to be so graphic about it. I'm saying, well, what are you doing there watching what I'm doing and why I'm not on the phones? It's none of your business what I'm doing in the bathroom. So I think you should just be able to go to the bathroom. Regular, you can log out for it. If someone's abusing it and you've logged out as a bathroom break, but you're actually out in your car smoking a doobie. If you're out in the van by the river smoking a doobie, you should get in trouble. Training is something that I think has got to change. Now, I know there's budget reasons and there's time restrictions and you got to get bodies on the floor. Man, I can see Dan Maid. Well, you got to get bodies on the floor there. Do you like my mustache? I like my mustache. You like it? I like it. Oingo Boingo likes my mustache. This looks like Dan Maid's mustache. I'm Dan Maid, and I work for Verizon Wireless. I used to. Don't I look smashing? I've got my tapered shirts. Now, I think training has got to change. Let's throw out all the metrics that the corporate people at the top and the board of directors and actuaries and accountants say. Training would, first of all, the training room mandatory would not be in the basement. Training would be in a room with lots of natural light. Excuse me, I dropped my lens cap. Thank you, I'm back. Lots of natural light. No more windowless rooms. Air conditioning and heating would have to be regulated. There had to be a way to regulate the temperatures in these rooms. They're either freezing cold or they're unbearably hot. Training would be at least a minimum of 2 months before we ever got on the phones. And training would also be ongoing. So when I say training should be at least 2 months in length minimum, your traditional call center, regardless of the size of the company, will train you for only 2 weeks. So, for instance, let's say, this is a book. This is, the book doesn't matter, but this is a book I'm reading, and it is approximately, 235 pages long. And if this is your training manual, you've got to learn all this information in 2 weeks. You basically, in a call center, have to learn what has taken some people who work for the company 10, 15, 20 years, a lifetime to learn. 10 to 15 years to learn. You've got to learn it, absorb it, and regurgitate it on the phone after being in training for only 2 weeks. Now, I say you extend training to 2 months, at least. And training would be ongoing. Training would be ongoing, so you'd be constantly training. So you get the initial training in 2 months to learn your systems, to learn the billing, to learn the customer, to navigate. And then they take you off the phones every, let's say, at least once a quarter to train you further, to find out places that you're having weaknesses, to find places where you're struggling, to give you new information on new products and services. And there's no discipline for it. If they're finding you're struggling, they help you with it, and they help you with it, and they help you with it. Training would include weekly side-by-sides with agents already working the phones and in the call center. Now, I say this because when I was at Wells Fargo Bank, I was struggling with my sales. I could sell, and I could sell fairly well, but I wasn't at the top, and I wanted to be better. I wanted to get to the top, and there was this one woman who was extremely good at sales. And I said to my boss, I said, well, if you want me to prove, let me sit with the best sales representative on the floor. And he's like, what? Yeah, I guess so. What do you want to do? His name was John. John, he was Italian, and he talked like this. He always talked with his hands out like this. He'd say, well, Pete, this is the way you got to look at it. This is the way you got to look at it. This is the company, and this is you. He always talked with his hand like he was a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And I said to him, I want to sit with the best sales rep on the floor. And he said, okay, well, I guess so. We'd have to find time to get you off the phone. No, stop with the bullshit, John, and just let me sit. I finally had to say with him, if you want me to improve, I got to figure out how are other people succeeding, and I can't because, well, sales, I'm not going to go off on a tangent about sales because sales, I think, is kind of rigged. But so he let me sit with somebody else, and what happened? My sales numbers went up. I didn't get to the top, but I was close because I learned tricks of the trade from this woman, so to speak. She wasn't a hooker, but I learned tricks from her, you know what I mean? So I think you have to sit with the best person in the call center. Training should be ongoing. They should constantly be trying to improve your performance instead of threatening with your job because they spent probably $30,000 to $50,000 per employee to train you. So why not take that investment and make money off of it by keeping there to make sure you're doing the best, being all you can be, doing the best you can. Be like the Army, be all that you can be in a call center. Training will be ongoing, and call center supervisor counseling would be designed to keep you as an employee. And I've already said some of this, but from what I can see of call center supervisor counseling, when you have a one-on-one with your supervisor, it's usually a disciplinary thing where they're saying, hey, you're sucking bad and you got to improve or we're going to get rid of you. Now, I only had somebody say that to me once, and it was many years ago, and she was a complete ditz named Donna, who looked like Miss Doubtfire, and every time I'd see her walk by, I'd go, oh, dearie, oh, dearie. But that's the only time I've ever been threatened. Well, there was another time, too, but that was a whole different situation. But it seems like in the call centers, when you get counseled, I call it counsel, when they pull you aside and say, hey, they come over to your desk and say, hey, Pete, would you mind coming over to my desk? I need to talk to you. You know that means you're getting spanked, and not in a good way. You're getting spanked. You're going to be talked to because you're sucking on the phones. You've done something wrong. You burped, and the call center, the customer heard it, and the quality assurance person heard it. They just somehow happened to hear the one time you belched into the phone out of 10,000 calls you take a week. So why not make it more of a positive experience, saying, hey, look, you bring people into the call center, you hire them, you say, hey, it's not that we're not going to fire you, but we're going to do everything humanly possible to make your experience here as pleasant as possible, because the customers are hard to deal with. To say it, just to say it lightly, they're hard to deal with. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you every opportunity to succeed in this call center. And if after a year you're still struggling and you're still not doing well, we're going to start writing you up. Or we're going to start counseling you towards a write-up, because it might not be the job for you. But, there are people that come in the call center that definitely are not cut out for a call center. There's people that are just not right for it, and most people aren't. Your average person, any person really isn't right for it. There are some people that do excel and succeed at and stay for years. And those are usually people that don't have a lot of emotions involved in it. But I think the counseling with supervisors should be light and meant to encourage and coach and improve the person's performance, as opposed to find ways to get rid of them. I always thought it was kind of more of a way to get rid of you, to try to get you out the door. And I think getting written up for minor infractions of not reading the script, minor infractions for not using certain phone etiquette should be just done away with completely. I mean, when I was at Dial America, I had to read a script verbatim, and a couple of times I missed a couple of words, and I got pulled aside right away. And they took me into a room and said, hey, look, you missed and the and this, and these things you read are like contracts with the customer. And I was like, dude, I'm thinking, as he's blabbering on and on, I'm like, okay, I'm not coming back tomorrow. I'm just not coming back. This is ridiculous. It's not like I was doing horrible. I wasn't doing good at Dial America, but it was like these, it's a whole nother story. I've talked about Dial America. It's just a shit show. So basically, that's what I would do. I would structure the building in such a way that, and I think, as I said at the beginning, every call center should be circular. So you have this circle, and at the center are the break rooms, at the center are the training rooms, at the center are the bathrooms, and maybe have bathrooms, two men's, or a ladies in a men's room at 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock, so people can easily access them. And that the training rooms are maybe a level up from that, where you have lots of skylights or something, because they train you in these horrible, dismal situations. And I think why they do that is because I think they think people are easily distracted. So they don't want people in the middle of a training room like we used to do in high school, staring out the window when the algebra teacher was going on and on and on about X's and O's and Y versus X to the third power. We're like looking out the window, thinking about the clouds and the world's going by. I think they think people are going to do that, so they take the windows away. They probably sit in a board meeting, a bunch of men sitting around a big oak table with a bottle of brandy and cigars going, you know what, Bill? We've got to remove windows from the call center training room. And these people we're bringing here have the attention of a squirrel, so the attention span of a gnat. We better take out the windows. They'll never learn anything. They'll be staring at the clouds, wasting our money that we could be spending on leather mistresses on yachts in the Pacific. Ha! These are some maniacal fuckers. They are in my mind anyway. So that's what I would do. That's just kind of off the cuff. I wrote some of this down, and Saber Matrix, you're a saint, whoever you are, man or woman or beast, whatever you are. Thank you for the idea. And I hope you're all doing well. Punch the thumbs up, man. Just give it a bunch and subscribe. Tell people about it. You know, I don't know. I don't know what the deal about this channel, because I have like almost 9,000 subscribers, but my revenue has been cut in half by 50%. So whatever. I can't control that. I'm trying. I'm trying to make good, funny, interesting videos. So that's PTPOP, Call Center Survivor. Any other ideas? Saber Matrix. You're on top of the game, man. Comment. Send me more ideas. Have a good day. Bye.